The world is changing faster than ever, and your leadership needs to evolve with it. Are you leading with agility, or are you stuck using outdated methods? Today, we're going to talk about the future of leadership, how using an agile approach can transform your decision-making, your team, and your ability to navigate change. Stick with us. Hey everyone, John here. 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 Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. I am your host, John Espinosa. Today, we're going to talk about the future of leadership. We are going to break down 3 challenges. We're going to talk about an agile approach to each one. And then, of course, I'm going to give you practical applications on how you can implement these today. Remember, this podcast is an active listening podcast. I just don't want you out there passively listening. So get your journals out. I got mine. Get your pens out. And as we walk through each one of these, I want you to take some notes. And then my challenge to you, as always, I want you to apply one of these things tomorrow. Figure out what day 1 looks like. And then just don't miss 2 days in a row. That's how we can stay consistent in our leadership. So let's get into the first one. The first one we're going to talk about is embracing this concept of adaptive thinking. Okay? And here's the challenge here. In a lot of our traditional organizations, whether it's a business that we've been a part of, or we're hired into, or we're looking to hire into, this is one of the important pieces that I coach on and I mentor on, especially for people that may are looking for a career change or interviewing for a job. It's important to ask about the values, the leadership culture within the organization. If you're interviewing with your boss, I would ask about a leadership philosophy. And it all centers around this concept of adaptive thinking. So when you think of an organizational chart, right, and you think of you're the CEO, and then as you move down into the different sections, it may be finance, it may be marketing, it may be operations. Whatever that organizational chart looks like, who is the ultimate decision maker when you look at an organizational chart? It's usually at the very top, right? So in order to be agile, we got to make decisions where the work is being done. And so the challenge here is our traditional leadership methodology relies on this hierarchical decision making. So if I need a decision to be made and I'm the one working the project, I send an email or I call my boss or I IM them normally, let them know the problem, let them know proposed solution, and then I'm on down the road. What's that individual going to do? Again, depending on that organizational chart, they're going to work their way up. Finally, you're going to decision, and then it's going to come all the way back down. Even in today's fast-paced world where we can do that via email or instant messaging, it's still going to take some time. So consider this as your agile approach. We are going to, as leaders, prioritize adaptability over perfection. The ability to make a decision is one of the most powerful things that you can do as a leader. The ability to not make a decision can paralyze an organization. So even if the decision is wrong, it's still a decision. And we'll talk about some ways that you can go back and learn from that. But the decision needs to be made. And if you got to go up in a traditional organizational structure, it's going to slow things down. So again, prioritize adaptability over perfection. Adapt. Make a decision. Go in those little sprints that we always talk about. Work and then adapt. So here's your action. I want you guys what I call learning loops. I've been in training for quite some time. And in training, a learning loop is you present a topic, less than an hour, and then you have some type of application. So they go in and they practice. It's a little bit how I call to digest, keep things in digestible chunks where people can comprehend and then have the ability to go out and practice. A learning loop in business looks very similar. I want you to have shorter review cycles. So think of this as if you're running a project, and I use the word sprint. You're going to maybe work for a week. This comes up with IT software type technology. If I'm developing a user interface with buttons and options and pull down menus, am I going to wait till the very end of the project in order to show the customer what the user interface looks like? Probably not. And if you do, it's probably a bad decision. So again, go in shorter cycles, learning loops to where you accomplish and then you get some feedback on your progress. You adjust and then here we go again. Make sense? That is going to keep you agile whenever it comes to the decisions because now you are getting decisions quicker. You're not waiting till you get to the end and then have a laundry list of things that you got to go back and fix. So again, this is that adaptive thinking approach that I want you all as leaders to adapt. And one of the things that I want you to take away from this is have shorter review cycles, get some feedback, and then adjust. So is there a project that you're currently working, that you're currently leading, or that maybe a peer is leading that you can give them a little bit of feedback, break it down into those micro learning opportunities, those learning cycles, and then adjust. Make sense? It's going to keep that project moving and prevent you from getting to the very end and having a lot of changes. Okay. So the second piece that we're going to talk about, remember, this is all about, are you agile enough to meet the future leadership demands? So this second one is all about empowering your teams. It's empowering your teams with decentralized decision making. So this goes back again. Think of that organizational structure. Traditionally, you're going all the way up to the top to make a decision. That is going to slow down organizations because they get bottlenecked up there. I can tell you a handful of times when a director, a deputy director, what do? They make decisions. That's what their job is. They move things across the finish line. They get things out of the way, right? Well, guess what? It's not just a decision on your project. They're responsible for the entire organization. And they may have the vision in mind as they're leading, but when it comes to a very tactical type decision, that needs to be done where the work is being done. So here is the challenge. The challenge is we get this bottleneck. We're waiting for a decision. We go all the way to the top. And there's a lot of things in the queue there. So here's the agile approach. Trust your team to make the decisions. We want the decision to be made as close as possible to where the work is going to be done. So John, you're asking yourself, what does that do for me? Well, 1, increases your speed. 2, increases your innovation. If people feel empowered to make decisions, they are going to be more likely to innovate. They are going to be more likely to be creative because they know that this is coming at a very fast rate. So you have no other option. Remember, increased speed correlates to increased innovation, gets people juices flowing. It makes them feel like they are valued by empowering them to make the decision. So here's your action. I want you to define a decision-making framework. And here's how you're going to do it. You are going to define guidelines for how decisions will be made at different levels. And then you're going to ensure your team has the sufficient resources to do it. I want to take a quick break from our discussion today to mention a couple things. First of all, thank you for listening. Only 50% of our listeners are subscribed to our channel. Do me a favor, click on that subscribe button. It's going to allow our channel to continue to grow and give you updates whenever we get new episodes published. The second thing is our coaching program. People who want to work with me are looking to make a lasting change, level up, or get unstuck. I gave up on my dreams. I was a young parent, had to make a couple career changes. I went through some financial hardships. I had to learn how to flip my mindset and stay consistent. Our coaching programs are individualized one-on-one sessions where I will teach you a proven system and guarantee that you can reinvent yourself over and over again. If If that sounds like something that interests you, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com and sign up to get more information. Now back to the show. This example, time-old example here. Marriott. I'm a Marriott Properties brand hotels person. I stay at a lot of Marriotts. I'm a lifetime platinum elite. You walk into a property and get a room. You go up to your room. It's not up to your expectation. What do? You walk back downstairs. You're at the front desk. That individual apologizes to you. What Marriott has done is they've set that decision-making framework for those people to compensate you. Either to compensate you with a free night up to a certain amount, to compensate you with a certain number of points, but they're the ones making the decision. Going back to that agile approach where you're making the decision where the work is being done or as close to where the work is being done. They're not having to get their manager on the line. They're not having to go all the way up to the CEO of Marriott to figure out if they can comp your room or they can offer you points. You see where I'm going here? You see where this entire empowering individuals to make decisions can help you out and create agility within your organization. So I'm sure there's a lot of examples out there, just like that Marriott example, especially in a customer service oriented business, to where you're going to empower individuals to take care of the customer, to give them an incentive that will increase their customer satisfaction, thus increase your reputation and continue to uphold your brand. Got it? So again, the action there, create a decision-making framework. Create those guidelines. It can be a threshold. In this case, I can give up to 20,000 points. I can comp up to $200 on a room night. That's what I'm talking about. Create that framework. That's the action for this one. So empowering teams with decentralized decision-making. And then the third one we're going to talk about when it comes to the future of leadership and preparing your organization for an agile approach is building a culture of continuous feedback and experimentation. Very similar to what we talked about earlier with the sprints. So the challenge here is that normally feedback sessions are given when? Mid-year and annual. So employees are working hard for 6 months. They get a mid-year performance review for the last 6 months. And guess what? Are you just going to let an employee not get any feedback 6 months at a time, or even worse yet, a year, an annual review at a time? No, that is a traditional approach. Agile approach. We are going to establish clear feedback here. So this is ongoing, and this allows that experimentation approach to creep in to organizations, to embed themselves into organizations where we create a constant feedback loop. And here's how we're going to do it. We are going to do it by introducing what I call retrospectives. If you are in a projectized organization, you're trying to create the new sales pitch, the new product, trying to figure out how we're going to manufacture something, try to figure out how we're going to go hire the next qualified individual for a company, whatever your organization looks like. When that task, when that project is finished, I want you to develop a retrospective approach. You're going to ask 3 simple questions. The first question, what worked? The second question, what didn't work? And the third question you are going to ask is, what will we change the next time? What worked? What didn't work? What are we going to change the next time? Very simple way to get some feedback on that project. So that way, especially if you have a system in place or a process in place, it's continuous improvement. It's that quality management system that you are going to, again, build into your organizations through feedback. Does that make sense? So that individual is not going to wait 6 months, is not going to wait a year. They are going to get feedback after each and every task and each and every project. Another way to accomplish this, Hold weekly meetings. Hold at least monthly meetings. At the least, with your teams, give them that opportunity. What is working? What is not working? What do we need to do to change? 3 simple questions, framed a little bit different, gives you as the leader feedback. So again, back to that experimentation. You can try something out. Here's the magic of it. It increases your innovation. You can try a new process out, maybe a new project tracking system. Do it for a month, get some feedback. I do this in my YouTube videos. I practice, we implement some things, we see how that does, then we adjust. We don't wait the whole entire month. It may be how we change our thumbnails. It may be how we change our openings. It may be how I journal or how I organize my thoughts. We're doing more of a practical approach now because I wanted to make sure that you all were getting takeaways from the podcast. So can you see we're changing things and experimenting things in an iterative way? We're not waiting until the very end. Constant change, making sure we're getting feedback all along the way. So, as I think of what leadership needs to look like, we need to be more agile now than ever. And in order to accomplish that, these 3 challenges and the agile approach and the actions that I gave you are going to help you be an agile leader, accelerate projects, accelerate continuous improvement, accelerate people wanting to be a part of your organization. And that's the biggest takeaway for me, is that when you empower individuals, when you create this model of adaptive thinking, when you give the decision-making ability to the people who are doing the work or are closest to the work, and then you bring in feedback loops all along the way, what's stopping you from being the greatest, the best business, company, team? Who wouldn't want to come work for you, right? So as we close this out, I hope that 1, you were able to take one of the practical approaches. 2, I want you to implement this tomorrow. That's my challenge to you. One of the things that I tell all my leaders is leadership's not about having all the answers. It's about staying flexible. It's about empowering your team and continuously learning and continuously improving yourself, your team, thus your organization along the way. I hope this helps somebody. I believe in you. Go be great. Talk to everyone later. Bye-bye. If you like what you're hearing, do us a favor. Click on that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up or leave a comment. That lets us know that what we are putting out benefits you. If you want additional information or resources or learn how to work with me, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com, because when we become better versions of ourselves, it helps us get others to where they're going. Go be great. Talk to everyone later.